You are now listening.
You are now listening
to the Black Male Educators Alliance podcast.
Lifting our voices.
Lifting our voices.
There he is. What's up, everybody? We're back. Welcome to the BMEA podcast, Lifting Our Voices. We are short mic today, but we got Chris, we got Kurt. We're here. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Dr. Lewis, there he is. Doing well. Jerry, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good, but I'm tired, and I cannot wait until next week. Summertime.
I'm good, man. This sun, like, you know, I'm doing well. Can't wait also to just, you know, take a couple of weeks to relax.
So, you know, the last couple of shows, we had to open up talking about different states, banning critical race theory and all of that, right? We're not talking about it today, but thankfully. And that doesn't mean that another state hasn't done something stupid. We're just not talking about it today. You know, for the educators that are tuned in, you know, summer is around the corner. And for me, I'm not somebody who usually needs a whole lot of time off. Give me 3 or 4 days and I feel like I'm ready to get back to it. It's different this year.
Sure.
It's a little different this year. And, you know, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about like what the value of rest is specifically this year. But I am curious, like, does anybody have anything in particular planned for the summer? Or be intentional about anything this summer, I will say.
Yeah. A couple of things, man, we have going on over here. One, we're planning like this big family trip to like Grand Rapids, like everyone on my mom's side. We're going to be renting a few different Airbnbs and things like that. Trying to get my kids involved in some different sports activities. So shout out to my oldest daughter, Jada. She's been running track. She literally found this team and put the research in. Ruby's already running wild in the background. You may hear her. And CJ wants to do like either soccer or basketball. So trying to get them just active and around, you know, other youth is something I'm definitely trying to be intentional about with them after spending so much time inside.
I'll say this, and, you know, we had our prom last night and, you know, the kids know each other and they, you know, there's relationships there, but energy, like just kind of chemistry wise at the prom, it was off. I'm not straight up like, and I was thinking I was doing some math and I was like, you know, they've been away for about 1 year and 3 months or so out of a 3.5 kind of experience. That's a long time. And I saw it for what the forecast is going to look like in September last night. And so I do think, you know, Chris, being intentional about putting them around other kids right now as much as you can is probably smart because it's a little different right now with the energy.
Yeah, and just one more little comment, then we jump to you, Kurt, is because I think a lot of kids, they're just shy. They don't know how to make new friends or re-engage. You know, if it's like your best friend, yes, but if it's someone you may be a fringe, you know, like
a little fringe.
Yeah, it's like, how do I approach that? Because even Jada was so nervous about going to this new track team. She knew nobody, so I understood that. But I can only imagine you've been in the house, you know, you in these new settings. But yeah, so I think that's a big thing kids will have to even deal with going back into the building where it's like, I don't really know you like that, or I know of you, but are we really cool? So it's gonna take some time. We gotta be intentional about it.
Curtis, what do you got up for the summer?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing for you know, my 18-year-old is graduating, so between now and college, he will be working. Right now,
I keep telling you kids go get a job.
Oh, then they got jobs. They just throwing you. They're knocking on your door, asking you to come to work.
We had a freshman get a job for $18 an hour at Wingstop.
Yeah, no, he's gonna get a job. And he's gonna probably get 2. Help pay some of that tuition, but so get him up and working. But this 7-year-old, I'm gonna get him into some summer programming as well. I think it's important. It's time for him to get out. His time on my end for him to get out and start doing stuff because I'm tired of the house being the playground. So I'm gonna do that. And for me, I'm actually gonna take some time and just unwind. And I'm gonna take like a ride to the West Coast on the train.
Okay.
If you've never done it before, you get your room, like get you a sleeping cart, what they call it, roomette. You get that. You have your room to yourself. You got a nice big window, and you just rise. And man, it's beautiful, peaceful. You're in the mountains. It's great. You ever done it before? Do it. Amtrak. I feel like Amtrak need to give me some money for advertising, but I'm looking forward to that.
Show pay us.
I'm looking forward to that.
So when you say a room, like what do you mean? Like it's like just a bed you land in, or like
no, you got a room with a bathroom. Like
really?
It's like a moving hotel. Yeah. So it's some of the them trains that go far like that. They have sleeping carts. They call it sleeping cars. Sleeping cars. So I've done. I wrote my dissertation on this. I've done this before. I know I told you about it, but it's great. So if you like being by yourself, you can even bring your friends or whatever. But you can get your own rooms, because it's not big enough, like for you being there with 3 people. But like it's smooth, and then you take it west, and I go through the Midwest, go to Denver. Once you get past, like, go beyond the city limits of Denver, go into the mountains, and you're in the mountains for like a day. It's like a 2 days and a half of train riding. It's great. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is included, and the train food is good.
Are you sure though? Because I've been on this one.
Now don't do the Chicago. I ain't on the Chicago train. No. This train, because you just like a hotel, they got like chefs, like it's real deal food, like for real. Like I'm telling you, I'm
not mad.
Try it.
Since we're on the railroad, real quick, just for folks who don't know, I highly recommend if you're leaving out of Detroit, going to Toronto, take the train. It's first of all, the Canadian rail system much cheaper than Amtrak, but take the train. You can get back and forth about $80. Awesome. Anyway. For me, so I don't, I'll take like 3 days, like I said, but this summer, I don't have any kids, so I don't worry about any of that. But for me, I'm truly gonna shut down. Like I don't ever do that, and people might be worried about me because I'm going missing for 2 weeks before we get back to it. It's just one of those summers, and so we obviously.
We're gonna text each other, bro. You're gonna send me a text or something. It's like at some point, it's gonna say
this. Yeah. I'm gonna try not to though, but the playoffs will still be on by then. So at least there's sports, because sometimes in July some sports go dead. But anyway, I think it's safe to say that BMEA highly recommends that all educators take time this summer to yourselves. You deserve it. Please get some rest, because we do have to get back to it. But please, this summer, of all the summers, make sure you cut out some time and take some time to yourself. Sure. Is that fair to say?
That is. I agree. Totally agree.
Very accurate.
Very agree.
Okay. So we got a decent show tonight. A good little show here. We're gonna probably get a little bit of a foreign language lesson. We might even get a math lesson. So for those of you who are tuned in, this is a little what we call learning after dark potentially. So very excited. And are we ready to get into our first guest?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, sir. Let's bring her on up.
All right. Everybody, please welcome Jessie Feliz.
Hola.
Say hello to everyone, Jessie.
Hola.
Hola. Oh, I didn't even have my bongos. I don't even have my drums. Hola.
So, Jessie, please tell the viewers, the listeners, just a little bit about yourself.
Yes, okay. First of all, gracias por haberse tomado tiempo de invitar.
De nada.
Thank you for having me. Estoy bien agradecida por todo. Yo me llamo Jessie Feliz. Soy de Detroit, Michigan. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I graduated from Southfield Lathrop back when it was Southfield Lathrop. I had the opportunity to study abroad in Costa Rica in 2005. While I was attending Western Michigan, and I've always been a free spirit, so I don't like to do what everyone does. We got to honor our children. We talk about multiple intelligences, but it's like, let's put this into realidad. Like, what does that look like? So everyone wanted to go to Mexico or to España, which those are still on my bucket list, but I found out about this program to Costa Rica, and I'm forever thankful. That's a Costa Rican flag atrás de mí, because with the pandemic, I can't travel there right now, but because I used to travel twice a year. After living there for 3 years, but I'm still connected. This is one way that I'm still conectada. So I lived abroad, and one thing that stood there for me before I became a professional teacher in Baltimore for 6 years is that as I was developing.
Shout out to Baltimore. I didn't know that. Shout out to Baltimore.
Oh, you didn't hear the more. You can't say Baltimore. Like, you got to say Baltimore. Like, linguistic, it's not it's Baltimore. Right? So, yeah. And you know what else I also learned? I took a linguistics class recently. We always talk about dialects, but then we also all have our individual lecto. It's called an idiolecto. And so the way that I pronounce words, even though I'm from the Midwest, sometimes I will pronounce words with that East Coast Mid-Atlantic vibe with it. Sometimes when I lived in Tejas, a sprinkle this, sprinkle that. But throughout all my years of living abroad and teaching Spanish and working with the Spanish-speaking community, I've always encountered this situation where people do not want to, it's almost as if I'm a foreign concept, that I'm Black American, non-Hispanic, and I fluently speak el Español. And there's a lot of reasons why. And at first I used to fake the funk. Like, I used to think it was a compliment. Oh, yo, dominicana, oh, tú eres colombiana. I'm like, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's taken away from who I am. No, yes, you can be. Just like Langston Hughes said, I too am American. I too am bilingue. Us too, we too can do this. There's a lot of factors involved in providing our kids with highly engaging, enriching, culturally relevant, that should be across content areas, real world opportunities. So I just want to bring all of that to the Spanish language classroom, virtually, in person, working with educators as well as students.
Look, I feel like I just got a semester of Spanish. To be honest with everybody, this is great.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey. One thing also that I can remember, even in my honors Spanish 4 class in high school, by the time, we all have to take the 2 required years to graduate. But I clearly remember by the time I was getting to the advanced classes, there were less and less people that looked like me. And even my entire university experience and my entire high school experience, I never had a Black American or even an Afro-Latino as an instructor. And so even when you look at the textbooks, oftentimes when they get to the Dominican Republic, or if they are going to highlight parts of Latin America where you have people where the majority of our ancestors were forced to migrate to anyway, it's always at the end of the textbook. I remember like chapter 10 of one textbook when I was in Baltimore. Let's talk about La República Dominicana, but we never got to chapter 10 in the school year, so all those things play a role. And lastly, when I first started teaching, Curtis, I don't know if I shared this story or not with you when we first met, but I never forget, I was 22, I was fresh out of college, and I was in Baltimore. I worked hard at Southwest Academy. Shout out to all my people. That's my family out there. Johnny Cake, used to be called Johnny Cake Elementary School. And I never forget a classroom, the school population was 90% Afro-Americano. And so I'm a new teacher, and my mentor gives me all this clip art to teach the adjectives. And I'm just excited. Oh, I have all these resources. And I never forget Travis Ben Watkins. I always remember his name. He raised his hand and was like, hey, yo, teacher, they say. Instead of teacher. How come none of them people up there look like me? And I'm like, and I turned around, I'm like, you're right. Like, and in that moment, I'm like, my face is getting red. I'm feeling pressure. This is literally like week 1 or 2 of being a brand new teacher. But then I realized, wait a minute, pause. I still want us to finish a lesson, but I promise you, mañana, tomorrow, these people behind me, they're going to look like you, these images. And then that was like, I think the driving force, or like the start of it, like, this got to be relevant. Why are we teaching our children and not making it inclusive for what is relevant to them? So yeah, that's that.
Nice. Awesome. All right, so listen, let's go a little bit deeper. And we know you obviously, can speak Spanish, sound like a great educator. I know this from, I used to work with her, so she actually is. I can actually say that.
HFA, I'm sorry. Our inside.
Can you tell us about, I guess, like, what do you do now? And also for this summer, what do you have going on? Because we are, the name of this episode is Summer Opportunity. So tell us a little bit about like where you at currently, just, professionally, and also like what's going on this summer.
Okay, perfecto. So this summer, I have a 3-week online Spanish camp. And I know pull-ups, I know parents are like, dude, my child just went through a year plus of virtual learning. we're straight and all that. And I respect that. Yo soy mamá también. So I'm right there with you. I got a 6.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So I'm totally there, right there in the sauce with ya. But what's unique about our program is everything the same way that I teach in person, and Curtis definitely knows how I get down. So does Chris. How I teach in person is how I teach virtually. So the start of every class, everyone's getting up, we're moving. This summer, we have an amazing parent who's also a Zumba certified instructor. So every time that we meet, the first 15 minutes, we're doing a Zumba lesson. Quick break, and then we come back together. You have to keep that energy going because we're competing with los teléfonos and Roblox and everything else that is, and you can't be mad at kids when they find that your work is aburrido, boring, and then you're thinking these kids, you cannot do lecture style, period, let alone when you're doing it virtually. Because
you could probably say that to all the content.
All across content areas. This is the on-demand, a la carte generation of learning. It's just not the same. And we cannot keep doing the same practices. That's the definition of insanity, and expecting different results, right? So every day, and I have amazing educators that are here to work along with me. We separate by grade groups. So my camp is Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. EST. Why do I have it in the afternoon? One, a lot of students are involved in different activities. And two, shout out to my California love. I have this growing following of amazing parents from California who have their kids enrolled in bilingual programs, but they're looking more for that Black and bilingual aspect, Black and bilingual. And so we have lots of fun. And this summer we're talking about mis cosas favoritas, my favorite things. And so we'll be singing, we do movement, we do cooking demonstrations. I normally bring my neighbors, mis vecinos from Costa Rica, to join in. Normally during the regular school program every 6 weeks, but though at least every student will have a one-on-one in a breakout room opportunity to speak with a native Afro-Caribbean Spanish speaker. So we have lots of fun. And no Spanish required because we divide up based off your grade and as well as your proficiency level. And then during the regular school year, I have small group instruction after school hours as well.
Do you have any adult learning?
Oh, that's part one, right? So okay. I got a camp in July for 3 weeks, 4:30 to 6:30, Tuesdays through Thursdays. It's high, and I also, the thing that I sprinkle on there, it's affordable. It is not a weekly rate; it's a one-time fee of $125, $125. Did y'all get the ciento? Cien.
I was like translating in my head. You
math guru. I know you were $125. And that covers everything. Campers get a summer tea as well as all the resource materials, and there's no additional fees except for when we're making fresh pico de gallo. Parents will get like a list of ingredientes beforehand, like those additional things, or for arts and crafts. And then I also on Mondays from 6 to 7 p.m. I have an adult Spanish learning group. No experience necessary, but it's continuous. We don't stop and start over. We always go over basic conversation, but we're just continuing the flow. And it's so cool with El Internet because we have people from across the U.S. and I have some people in Costa Rica as well that are tapping into our learning programs. Yep.
I got a serious question, very serious. At what point did you start going back and forth between English and Spanish so effortlessly?
Honestly, I think it just developed over time because from the time I started teaching, I was always told, and I understand the reason why, but then I also, again, when we talk about the rate of bilingualism in the U.S., you have to be authentic, and I try to be authentically who I am. And so I go back and forth. When I lived abroad for 2.5 of the 3 years, I was translating on the inside and externally all the time. It was never 100% Spanish. I worked for Polacos, for Polish people that owns property in Costa Rica. I want to share those opportunities with people. I didn't pay rent for almost 3 years because I paid all their taxes. I took care of all their reservations while I was teaching on the side. Like there's so many opportunities and they want that North American accent as well. But I think just over time, just different situations, you have Spanglish, but then I like switch back and forth to what I feel passionate at the moment. It just like kind of naturally happens. So I can't say what. Probably, I would definitely say having after lived abroad, because you just pick up certain things. And I think that's the same thing for people who come to this country. There's like a version of Spanglish for every language.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say Vietnamese-ish, but like it's a combination of all those things. Yeah.
All right. If everyone doesn't mind, I do want to have you put your PD hat on for 1 second.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, a lot of schools are starting to focus on getting their kids to be critical thinkers and really, use their brain as the engine for their learning, right? Yeah. How does foreign language support students continuing to develop these critical thinking skills and higher order thinking skills?
Muy bien, perfecto. If you know how we used to always talk about like the ultimate step of Bloom's taxonomy was like when, I think now they say is to create. Ultimately, to be a creator, you start identify, understand, comprehend all those, and you build up, execute, judge, but then to create. And so one of the biggest things that I try to encourage not only educators but Spanish language learners is this concept of translation versus transliteration. That's why no me gusta nada el Google Translate. Unless it's a life or death situation and that's the only resource you have. When it comes to like learning a new language and getting it más profundo, like more in depth, you need to really let your brain, and that's developing that critical thinking. How can I take what information I do understand in one language and make it make sense in another language? And so instead of letting Google do the translation, of course, there's a gazillion resources. My favorite two websites are wordreference.com and Spanish Dict, short for dictionary or diction.com. But not for translation, but let me look up a new word. Let me read the examples of the sentences. Now let me make sense of it myself. So that is a lot of advanced critical thinking skills when you have to process. And the key is that it makes sense. And then on top of that is what I'm like, part of my mission, I believe, on life is to not only increase the rate of bilingualism in general in the U.S., but specifically with the Black community. And the way we can do that is by sprinkling that hashtag Spanish swag. That is speaking, essay, speak like a native, practice with feedback, study, get creative, woke, period, consciously be aware of what you're saying. A, accents matter, stress and expression, romance, swagger. G, grammar check, conjugate the verb, use the right verb tense. A, you have to sound near native. Period. And so like all of those things are happening all at once.
Punto.
Punto. Nada más, so that's definitely developing the critical skills. The same thing is like reading music. It goes hand in hand. How can I look at this musical graphema and then make sense of it and then produce a sound? And I can recognize that that's an A or a G note, but now am I producing the note correctamente? Yeah.
I mean, I know you free right now and you like, doing your consulting. I know. But I'm sitting here, it is hard for me to be like praying, Jesus, get her back in the school. Like, look, your energy, I said this when we were having our conversation earlier. When we sat down for the interview, what was that, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
When the energy, I had never experienced like with the energy. And it wasn't just energy, it's like that's who she is all the time. And just those kids fought to get in her class. In the Spanish class. And so I'm glad actually that you're out here doing this like on a national level now. And I'm hoping to get my son in your program because he needs some energy because you're right, Roblox has taken over and he's in these boring online classes and this, God bless the teacher, but it ain't working. Mm-hmm. And so we need this kind of energy. And to Jerry's point, one, I know we got to get ready to wrap up, but one, like, just repeat again, like what you're offering and how cheap it is, because I think it's cheap, which is great, right? Don't sell yourself short though. But two, also talk about, I think, what was some things you would tell a teacher, Spanish teacher, teaching like 2 or 3 things if you were doing a quick PD and you want to say, I want you to leave with these 2 or 3 things on how you can engage kids. But I'll ask you just 2 parts. Tell us what how parents can get their kids involved in your program over the summer. And then like, what is 2 or 3 things you would tell a teacher trying to teach a foreign language or any subject at this point? And then I'll shut up.
Perfecto. No, gracias por la pregunta. Thank you for the questions, Curtis. So, definitely. Oh, pura vida, Mónica. Por favor, put in the program. Primeramente, please visit Jesse Feliz. Jesse is spelled, I'm named after my granddaddy. Rest in peace. He was born in 1918. I have up here, we celebrate, Mexicanos celebrate the Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos. I keep images all year long of all of my ancestors near and far that have gone on. So he is like my driving force. Oh, Stacey, take care of me. I love you. Okay, but you can check out my website, jessifeliz.com, JESSIE, Feliz, as in Feliz Navidad, Feliz, not X. That is Felix. It is Feliz. And the Z is pronounced like an S, not Feliz. Feliz. You can check that out to get more information and to learn more about the programs that I offer. I also have tons of video clips of our students and the things that we do. Again, the program is July for 3 semanas, Tuesdays through Thursdays from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a Monday group from 6 to 7 p.m. for adult learners. You can also learn more by registering and emailing me and connecting through the website. And then for Spanish teachers specifically, the second, and I forgot, Jerry, were you to tell me this or was it Chris? I forgot who told me, about this is me first now releasing it.
Oh, this is your breaking news. Yeah, we got breaking news on
Okay, and the second Saturday in August 14th, I am officially having my Spanish swag teacher release party. We are inviting Spanish teachers from across los Estados Unidos. If people want to come from Canada or cualquier otro país, está bien. But please visit my website, drop your email address to get on the email list. But we're going to have an hour and 15 minutes of fun interaction and for me to teach you what hashtag Spanish swag, what that means, what it looks like. You'll be in short breakout groups based off if you're an elementary, middle school, or high school language educator so that you can get more specific best practices. But the main thing is you yourself as an educator, kids got to be bought into you. And so if I'm coming every day saying, hola, como estás? Okay, calculadora. If I'm not speaking with swag and if I'm not even further learning my own self to increase the amount of swag, because speaking like a native is ongoing. This is not one time. You have to constantly be a scholar and become an expert of your craft. And even in that expertise is ongoing. And so I want to encourage educators. You can check out, I have videos on YouTube. Just search Jesse Feliz online. I'm on Instagram as well as I just started TikTok. So I'm all over the place. Just look up Jesse Feliz and you can learn more about me and lo que yo hago and what I do.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. You got a lot of love in the comments. People showing you love. We got the link in there too. So thank you, Jessica, for joining us. And I need to get my son enrolled
for sure.
Because I was just thinking I read something about investing in property in Central America, and I'm like, I get taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So
there's so many opportunities, and people want the North American English accent. So, I miss the baby too. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. Gracias, and I support y'all in all your endeavors. Keep it up. We need it.
Sure.
Let me know.
Both ways. This ain't over. We gonna still work together. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it. Jerry be reaching out soon. Don't worry.
100%. 100%.
All right. Appreciate you.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
That was awesome.
Oh man, she's great. She's great, man. She's great.
Wow, that was cool.
Great. You gotta get in there and get some PDs, brother. To all the teachers, no matter what the class it is.
Right.
So we're gonna keep it going. We do have another guest, and I'm sure the energy may be a little bit different, but we're excited to have him nonetheless. Please welcome Dr. Laran Lightfoot.
But you better bring that Belize energy.
Contagious, y'all. So I started talking about the Costa Rica. So I represent Belize real quick one time.
Okay.
That's my family's from out there. But yeah, so thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Went to school at Xavier University of Louisiana down south of New Orleans, HBCU. I did computer engineering and minor in mathematics. Went to Michigan State for grad school, did my master's PhD in electrical engineering. And that's why I went with my brother, Dr. Curtis Lewis, up there. We both were working with the BGSA, doing the BP out the treasurer, and since 2007, I've been knowing Dr. Lewis.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That's what got me to the state of Michigan, and been out here since 2007. I've been living in Lansing, lived in Southfield, lived in Detroit, and called Detroit home. So I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Dr. Lightfoot, real quick, tell them a little bit about your career shift as you get into a little bit about your organization. I know I might be jumping the questions. My bad.
No, this is good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you're right on point.
It's important to know, like, a career shift was made. Go ahead.
Yeah, so about almost 3 years ago now, I worked at General Motors full time as a cybersecurity engineer, and my passion for wanted to start Math for Success. I started Math for Success while working at GM, but then made that switch while doing Math for Success full time. This was pretty dramatic in a sense, right? You're going from having a steady paycheck to trying to figure out how to survive and how to make this. I got a daughter too. I got an 8-year-old daughter, to make sure she's good and all that stuff. And you get a lot of, that's a crazy move. You got a comfortable job. Why are you doing this? But my heart and my passion just drove me and said, take that chance, believe in yourself, and make it happen. And now it's going on 3 years. Never received a paycheck in the sense of a job since then, and making it happen. So.
Yeah, I think that's dope because I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do, LaRon. I was an instructional coach at the time, and we met, and you were like, "Hey, I want to, you got some kids I can tutor. I want to help you with the math." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." I mean, of course we have kids that can, use extra private. But I didn't understand. I'm like, "Oh, but you work at G, you are an engineer. You what I'm saying? Like, what do you?" And he just had this vision. I never seen nothing like that, honestly, because, like I said on the surface, okay, you got a good paying job, dude, highly educated, but you to have that big of a belief in just the need and also just the students in general. And now I see so many kids that I've previously taught or just, I was just grown past that, who are a part of Math for Success. Man, I commend you. And, I'm proud that, I was one of your first, partners in the work. And, but I tell people that I like to, because everybody know Math for Success. I say, oh, you know what, me and LaRon was in my office talking about this, and now it's like, you all over the place, man. So it's amazing to see, dude. Really, and I really commend you, seriously.
Thank you.
Respect.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I commend y'all brothers too for what y'all doing with Black males educators out here in Michigan. So in a sense of you created a home for us, in a sense, right? A place where we could talk about tough issues and bring up real hot topics and stuff like that. So I've been following y'all since day one, and I commend y'all for real. And I remember my first time when I was trying to think of the idea, came to Dr. Lewis up there at HFA. I'm like, yo, I want to do something with math, but I don't know what I'm trying to do. We got to need help in, right? And I just kind of sat there. We were brainstorming for a little bit. I mean, on that same night, it was like a late night too. I feel like it was nighttime.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was kind of like a year before we started Math for Success. So I was just trying to brainstorm, trying to figure out how can this work, in a sense, right? But yeah.
So, Dr. Lightfoot, for those folks who aren't as familiar with Math for Success, can you maybe just talk a little bit about, some of the programming you offer and how people can get access to the programming?
Yeah, so we are an education service provider. We do everything from private tutoring to workshops and courses on math, engineering, science, STEM. We do everything from kids from the foundational math all the way up to the SAT math. And so we pretty much touch everything that deals with numbers. We do finance literacy workshops. We do, and the way that everyone can access us is through our website, mathforsuccess.org. It's MATH4 success.org. And like I said, our goal is to be affordable, accessible, and provide some of the best resources in the city. And we actually, since the pandemic, we actually ventured out to other states too as well. So we've been up in Georgia, Florida, DC, and so forth. So, yeah. So I know that one of the questions one of the things I want to mention though, my path on how Math Success got started.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into that.
So, because I think that kind of like the backbone of it. When I was in high school, I received a perfect score in the SAT math, right? And I gave me a full ride to multiple schools throughout the nation. And I chose Xavier because, first of all, HBC is a great school and everything else. But the thing about that, never have to have student loans or anything like that. But it's full ride undergrad, right? Always had a passion for wanting to do something for the community, but I wanted to make some money too, right? In a sense, right? And I know my mentor, Dr. Percy Pierre, he was the first Black PhD electrical engineer in the United States. He came down to New Orleans, recruited me from Michigan State. And he told me that you really want to make an impact. He said the impact, you can make an impact on your own as you are, but if you decide to go get your PhD, you open more doors in a sense, right? You'll have more access to more opportunities for the community, and you'll be able to bring more into the community by doing so. So that kind of got me to Michigan State. And while I was at Michigan State, I had a lot of Chinese lab mates. And they end up telling me their story about why they chose to do a PhD or come to the United States for a PhD. Because their family value was they want to change their family dynamic by using mathematics as a tool out of their community. Not like that before, right? And I'm like, yo, that's pretty much what I did with math. South Central LA, made it through, got my PhD, changed my daughter's situation. She don't have never experienced the things I have experienced growing up. In a sense, so it's like one of the things where I said I want to make sure that the students have the same opportunity. Like we don't have to look at just sports or entertainment as the way out of the situation. We can look at academics as well. And so I want to always try to push for and combine forces as we try to get the youth these great opportunities. And so
That's dope, man. I appreciate you going into that detail. And I want to ask this question because I know there's a lot of like educators and people probably listening who like also have like these mission or like they feel like they have a purpose to do certain things, and you've done it, right? And you've like been successful. How were you able to like grow it? Because what's really cool for me is that I have and I don't think I've ever said this to you, but like I have like at least one of my former high school classmates works for the company and tutors, and I've seen other people. So how did you like build that momentum? So now, because you're not doing all the consultation. Now you have a team. And I think a lot of people, they have great ideas, but they're like, man, they don't know how to build something. So can you give us a little insight just from the entrepreneurship standpoint of like how you build that capacity and build that support to get people to, dedicate their time to it and see your vision? How did you do that?
I mean, a lot of it starts with having a good heart in the sense of like coming with the energy that what your passion is for, right? What you're trying to do, the impact. And how we recruit is not based off just skill set. It's about, do you have the same goal that you want to make the same impact with the students, right? And that's pretty much the team is built around that. It's easy once you have a squad that's had the same passion. It's not much of you don't have to do so many rah-rah speeches. It's like they already got it themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're here for the same mission. And so that's pretty much, it's contagious at that point. Everyone that has that same energy, they kind of, they want to be involved, and we bring them on, in a sense, right? And then we coach them how to be a better tutor, mentor, and everything else as they go along. Anytime you're dealing with any situation, it's like all about learning. And like we always tell the team that we don't want the customers or anyone to feel the burn, even though it might be a lot of chaos behind the scenes. Just make sure that we're executing. And that's something I always learned from my dad. Because my dad never missed a day at work. We couldn't miss school ever. We always had perfect attendance. So always one of the things we always have to push for. Just go. Like you can't make excuses up. Just come on, make it happen.
So I don't think we touched on the summer program yet. This is our summer episode, so you talk a little bit about some of the summer programming that you all have.
Yeah, so we got several opportunities out there. So one of the ones that we're doing, we got the Ultimate STEM Summer Camp, in which is going to touch on coding, engineering, building paper circuits, doing some science experience with some chemistry, and doing some we're doing various type of coding too as well when it comes down to like drone coding and all that stuff. So that's one of the programs that's gonna go on August 2nd to the 5th. It's gonna be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's a 1-week program, and then we're doing multiple partnerships throughout the summer with Upward Bound Trio program, GBSU, which is Grand Valley State University, Michigan Engineering Zone. We're doing SAT test prep with all those organizations. DATSAP, we're doing a summer camp with DATSAP as well, in which you can find our information on DATSAP website. And we actually got approved for the RFP contract with DPSCD, where we're touching on 750 students throughout the city of Detroit for 5 weeks. And we're doing that. That's going to be math and STEM focused program. And so we got Boston Gym as well. I forgot to mention that one too. We're doing Downtown Boston Gym. We got a program with them as well. So you have a student in Downtown Boston Gym. We have a customized program where we're assessing each student. We're creating custom workbooks, and we're giving them private lessons throughout the summer as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We got an upcoming one. We gonna reveal, upcoming project. We're not ready to reveal yet, but yeah, it's coming too. Cool.
So basically, if you're in the city of Detroit and you can't figure out how to get some of Math for Success, is your fault, because you guys sound like you're everywhere this summer.
Yeah, we're touching a lot of corners right now. We touch a lot of parts. And even like outside of Detroit too, because we're doing some things that's virtual too. So we've been opening that door as well, just to give people opportunity to see what we're all about. Like you mentioned, how to grow the business. That we want to be nationwide eventually, so.
Yeah. So, let me ask you this: that program you mentioned, first week of August, is that in person? And what's the age group?
Oh, so that one is virtual, and it's going to be from 4th grade through 9th grade.
Nice.
And we're going to send over STEM packages to them. So once you enroll into the program, we're going to send a package with all the material, and pretty much be able to do everything from the comfort of your own home.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Lightfoot, we have appreciated you being on the show.
I think Kurt got a question.
Oh, you got one, Curtis?
No, I actually did. I did have a question because I was trying to get my 1st grade in some. He's gonna be in 2nd grade, but I'm gonna look at your website. But I will, before Jerry closes out, man. Like, Chris brought this up. Like, this is real, man, and like this just brings me so much joy to see you. We've known each other for a while, but like to see us talking in my office. I don't know when that's 2015 or 16, and look what you've done, man. Like, and your passion for it. Like BMEA, like we appreciate you. I personally appreciate you, man. And I can't express how proud I am of like the work you're doing. And you're doing it from your heart. Like, you quit a lucrative job to do something for the community, man. And a lot of us don't do that. And so, like, you are a Black male educator for sure. And so I just appreciate you. And I've seen y'all like online classes, and y'all them educating. These are people who ain't really been in school, like learned how to teach, and they killing it. So Jerry, Chris, reach out.
Look, you already know
Lightfoot, because I also have seen him improve. When I was a principal, did some work with our students on their SAT scores, and has made significant growth due to his work with them. So like, just continue to do the good work, man. It's a blessing to know you, bro, and I appreciate that. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for leaving and supporting us from day one. And so,
for sure,
that meant a lot, for real.
For sure.
So, on this note, it sounds like Math for Success is going to have a very busy summer, but are you going to get a moment to get some R&R, some rest this summer?
Man, that's hard. I don't know. Maybe in August. Maybe it's time in August. I might get a little time to rest up. But yeah.
And Dr. Lightfoot gets his turn up on now.
I wasn't going to say that, Kurt, but
he already been on vacation.
Yeah.
So he gets his turn up on. Trust me.
Yeah, I got a good now. Everything, like my thing's always been work hard, play hard too. So it's like, so I always try to find a way to balance back out, because you don't want to bring yourself out.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Dr. Lightfoot, we appreciate having you on. Thanks for joining us. We'll definitely have you back at some point.
We will.
But enjoy the summer. I know it's going to be busy, and touch as many kids as you can mathematically. We appreciate it.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, brother. You take care.
Awesome. Wow. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I got to go. Forget everything I said at the beginning of the show. I'm ready for a summer camp.
Man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So Chris, can you tell everyone a little bit about our summer schedule?
Yeah, so we are going to be, I think we have like one more episode. In 2 weeks, we'll be back on the
4th.
Let me put my calendar up right on the spot so I can make sure we have the exact day. In 2 weeks, so the 24th, yeah. I don't know why I just didn't do that simple math in my head. Don't you know.
Lightfoot, bring him back.
Right. So, yeah, we'll be back on the 24th, and I believe we're going to be out for
taking a month
off all of July. I believe what we're going to do.
I'll be missing.
Yeah, so we'll be gone, but like I said, we wanted to just kind of, use this episode to share with the listeners some really impactful work, get your students involved in. Like I said, I want to get my kids involved with both of them. Like seriously.
Yeah.
So
I want to support them instead of going to support these other organizations.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that it for the night?
Yeah.
That's it. We appreciate everyone doing it in. Appreciate all the comments. Facebook. We were on live on YouTube tonight.
And it went smooth. I didn't really, you guys kind of want to test it out, but YouTube, I've been watching on my phone. It's been smooth. So yes, follow us on YouTube if you don't already, because we definitely want to expand our reach there. So yes, YouTube, we on both live.
So subscribe, follow, all of those things, and we'll see you June 24th. This is Lifting Our Voices, a BMEA podcast.
You are now listening
to the Black Male Educators Alliance podcast.
Lifting Our Voices.
Lifting our voices.